Kenny, let's talk briefly about physicality, or should I just say maybe the lack of physicality that's important when it comes to playing guitar?
Yeah, I think probably the most important thing um, is the light grip on the pick.
Yeah, let's zoom into that. I want people to really see how you're holding the pick, because they don't get to, people don't get to just see this kind of stuff all the time.
So I've got my wrist probably up more than most people, I guess. So, and I'm getting pretty much my rhythm from.
Can you
right
shift
there.
around this way just a little bit?
Yeah,
Daniel
sure
can
can.
get a little. There you go. Oh yeah, we can see that now.
So I've got my wrist up, and then I'm getting this motion for my rhythm.
Okay, so it's not just elbow, it's that wrist twist.
Right.
Talk about tension and what you do to relieve that and how mindful you are of it.
Okay, so I'm right here is where the tone starts, and then so the lighter that I can hold that pick, that it's not going to involve any of these muscles in my wrist or go up my elbow. And this is from trial and error because I used to play lead, with my hand on the bridge, and I just never could get the power this way until I figured out one day my wrist went up, and then I learned how to push my thumb on the back of the pick and kind of use my thumb as the main,
instead of the whole end of your arm,
right,
or even your wrist.
Yeah.
Your push, it's a micro movement,
right.
and you see Tony, like when you watch Tony playing, you see that thumb joint doing this.
Right.
He's getting so much power and finesse,
Right.
in just that thumb.
And I don't move my thumb.
Right.
I've got it that same angle, and then I'm either using my thumb for the down stroke, and then backing up my index finger to the pick for the yeah. So now
Cool.
another thing that I'm doing is when I'm picking, I'm kind of thinking of the core of the string.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what I'm aiming for.
Huh. Aim
Not the-
small, miss small.
Yeah. So instead of the winding, I'm kind of aiming for that core of it and trying to bring those motions even in more
Okay.
to the.
And then as we're talking here about precision with our right hand, talk about left hand economy of motion and pressure and tension there, and some of the ways that you safeguard against using too much tension.
So on the tension part right here, I'm just pushing the string down just enough to make a good note, and then what's going on there, I'm memorizing how that feels. I've got a light touch, but I try to memorize
That's how
light.
hard it takes to
make
get a
that
good
note.
note, and not any harder.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I want to, when I'm playing, I want to revisit that. 15 or 20 minutes. I'm going to go back. You'll see me. What I'm doing is just memorizing again.
Wow.
Oh, there it is.
That's all I have to press down.
Yeah.
And what's your theory for why people press their strings down too hard, and why is it bad to do so?
I think it's the same thing with the distance. Like you have to really work on. Hey, I just got to lift my finger up just enough above the string. So I used to get in front of a mirror and look at myself, and because I used to not do that. I call them flappers. You're doing that in between the thing, and I used to do that. And then I saw Tony for the first time, Tony Rice at Station Inn, 1987. I was in the front row, and it was his hand. It just seemed just right over the strings.
Yeah.
And so that night, man, I went home a different guitar player just from the 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah, it's one of those paradigms.
So once you get these locked in, you got the light touch, and then you got a light touch on your left hand. Once you figure that out and kind of memorize how it feels, and you're going to have to you're going to have to do some.
To audit yourself.
Yeah, you have to audit, and you have to. I have to like work on that. I have to get in front of a mirror, or if somebody, like I was watching the YouTube thing, I'm checking out. When we was doing the YouTube videos today, it's like I'm checking out my left hand. Is like, oh, am I that? Does that look right? So
yeah, and I think the reason we were talking about the reason why people do press down too hard. Sometimes it's that your instrument's just not set up well. It requires a lot of pressure, or you've come from a history of learning on instruments that are hard to play. Then you get a nice guitar. Maybe not one just this nice, but you get a nice guitar, it's easier to play, and you bring those old habits over. And then you made a great point. You're like, well, your strength grows over time. And so you are having to press 100% of your strength in the beginning to get clear notes. Now you're still pressing 100%, but you're twice as strong. Yeah. So, and then what that does over time, of course, it can actually injure you if you play too hard, but you don't have good perseverance,
a lot of time
endurance.
A lot of time we're in a jam, and that's that's the last thing I think of. I'm thinking, oh man, how good this sounds and everything, and then all of a sudden I'll feel my hands like, oh man, I'm
getting tired.
My hands start to get tired, and that's when that's when I go, oh man, I need to back off, and then I'll start go through that little deal there, and it kind of, I don't know, it's definitely saves you in the long run. And it's just a good habit. You'll feel after you do that, and then the light touch, then those notes sound snappy. They're not like a slur. They're really snappy. Those notes are.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. My heroes. Leon Russell.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Love it.